That's that's what I'm saying, is that what she was going to do is not going to be done immediately, but what you're supposed to give back was not going to be immediately, but can be given at a later stage because of the position that she was appointed in.
She was going to do something illegal.
Correct.
Some years later.
No, we do not know when that would be. But
Precisely the problem.
Because you don't know, that's precisely the problem.
That's precisely the problem with this. That you have you formulated a charge, you got a warrant of arrest, you got people arrested, you have people appearing in court, and continue to do so on the basis of something that you say, and rightly so, fairly so. You say, well, we don't know, maybe in future she was going to do that. How does that, for a seasoned investigator, how does that sound right? As you say it, we don't know, maybe in future she was going to do that, and you've taken all these drastic steps that have a consequence on people's lives and have had a consequence. And you sit there now, many months later, you say, well, we don't know. Maybe she was going to do it in future. It cannot be right that that's a basis on which you went and instituted this prosecution and got a warrant of arrest. That's precisely the problem with this.
The evidence before the Madlanga Commission has exposed what appears to be the capture of constitutional safeguards, the watchdog itself, IDAC. We have spent several months chasing the Big Five, the cartel structures, the criminal syndicates, the Ayrton drug bust, the Port Shepstone Stacker, where the drugs grew legs and walked out of a sealed safe, corrupt procurement networks, EMPD, TMPD, protection enterprises, only to discover that they may never have been the real story. This is not our problem. Criminal enterprises do not thrive because they are clever. They thrive because institutions fail. If the criminal justice system functioned as Parliament intended, the Big Five, the Ayrton drug bust, the EMPD saga would simply be another group of accused persons standing in the dock. Lieutenant General Khumalo has the potential to bring all of them one by one to court if the criminal justice system is working like it's supposed to. They would be investigated, prosecuted, and imprisoned like everyone else. What Padayachee's testimony, see this guy over here, has exposed is something far more alarming than organized crime itself. It has exposed what appears to be a capture of constitutional safeguards themselves. The plumbing of the building is being eaten up. The Brigadier Mokwele case stands as a perfect classroom example of what appears to be institutional capture in action. A legally deficient referral was converted into an IDAC investigation. An apparently lawful HR appointment process was portrayed as a criminal process. Padayachee calls it gratification. General Khan's exclusion from the selection process was treated as relevant despite no demonstrated criminal significance. And crime intelligence officers who had displaced and excluded General Khan were ultimately arrested and prevented from ever returning to the offices. Actually, the magistrate suspended them from work. If this chronology is correct, IDAC was not independently investigating corruption. It was exercising state power in a manner that advanced a particular institutional interest, a particular cabal. Now I have come to realize the single most dangerous person, far more than the big five, the Eriton, drug bust, and all that, is General Khan. You see this guy here? This guy is dangerous. This guy's case has gone past racketeering. He needs to be charged with treason. IDAC has emerged from Padayachee's testimony institutionally naked. We have a Section 2813 preliminary investigation preceding the only confirmed Section 27. What needs to happen is that Section 27 needs to come first before any investigation. But from here, it seems like 7 SAPS dockets found their way to IDAC before the Section 27 referral. Investigators exercising extraordinary powers without ever seeing the Section 27 affidavit that lawfully brought the matter before them. Padayachee has said 100 times that he has never seen the Section 27 until he was summoned to come to the Madlanga Commission. That is when he got to see the Section 27 and read it with his own eyes. An apparent willingness to justify yesterday's exercises of state power with today's discoveries. This is the testimony of Padayachee. Investigators becoming entirely comfortable exercising extraordinary powers without first asking the constitutional question that should precede every investigation.
Is that not for General Nkua and General Sibia to say, I'm not happy with this panel or I'm happy with it? If they are happy with it and they approve it, what business is it of IDAC to say we would have preferred Khan there and not that person? Why does IDAC involve itself in those things? IDAC does not constitute panels that interview candidates in crime intelligence. Why does IDAC go to court and say to court, I want warrants of arrest issued because I'm not happy that in that panel that general was there and General Khan was not there? Why is it the business of IDAC?
What business is it of yours? The most frightening aspect of Padayachee's testimony was not what he found. It was how unremarkable he considered the process of arriving there, the extraordinary gradually becoming ordinary. A crime intelligence appointment became an IDAC investigation. An HR process became a corruption investigation of IDAC and Khan. Allegations became arrests. Throughout Padayachee's testimony, the commission repeatedly returned to the same constitutional question. What was the lawful foundation of the very first exercise of state power?
You cannot look at an affidavit that does not satisfy the requirements of Section 27. You cannot look at it, find that it does not satisfy the requirements, but go ahead and investigate in any event. And only after investigating, you then establish that there's gratification here, there's that and that and that. And then, with reverse reasoning, you rely on that.
Corruption is therefore merely the symptom. The system itself becomes the disease when constitutional watchdogs like IDAC institutions can themselves be compromised, manipulated, or used to fight battles of particular cabals and factions. I am no longer interested in who eventually gets arrested. I'm interested in who authorized every single exercise of IDAC's extraordinary powers, upon what facts, and under which lawful authority. I want to see every Section 27 referral. I want to understand every Section 28 authorization. I want to know what facts existed on day one, not day 108. This includes the Maklala matter that ultimately dethroned the National Commissioner of the SAPS. I now want to see with my own eyes the Section 27 referral that lawfully brought the only four-star general in the SAPS before the criminal justice system. Fix the system, and the guilty will inevitably find themselves in prison. Fail to fix it, there will simply be another big five next year, another cartel the other year, and another captured institution decade after decade. This is no longer a big five project, or I'm not interested anymore in finding out about the big five, the Eritrean bust. That is no longer important. This is a war for the integrity of the constitutional and criminal justice system. July 6, 2025, Lieutenant General was right. This is war.
As I said, Honourable Member, when I was talking to the members before, that as things were building up, as we're assessing what is happening and assessing the danger that we are facing, I then engage, and most those behind me are task force members.
Yes.
So I started to engage them, and I said, I think there's some kind of a takeover of government that is happening. When people want to control security cluster, they are going to take over government. And we reach a stage where we must face an enemy head on. So let's communicate a message directly and indirectly. So I asked the National Commissioner for permission to dress like that, and he gave me the permission to. I still had my uniform anyway. So that's why we put it on.